Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Clayton Chapman, and today I'm going to make a roasted pork loin and scalloped potatoes. Scalloped potatoes have a few different names. They could be potato dauphinoise, potato pave. What I love about the combination of these two is that I feel the pork complements the scalloped potatoes really well, and this dish can easily be made a day ahead of time so that when it comes time for your celebratory event, your holiday, your time with friends and family, it's a simple reheat in the oven. For the pork loin itself, I have a center cut truss pork loin. If you're curious how I did that, please check out my video on how to tie a roast. Seasoned pretty generously, kosher salt, fresh cracked black pepper. I like to keep this fat cap on so that it can render a bit while the pork loin is cooking. It also acts as kind of like this protective barrier between the meat and the bottom of the pan. I'm gonna go into a preheated enameled cast iron on about medium heat without any added oil or fat. I'm just gonna allow this pork loin fat cap to render a little bit. So my goal here is to really just sear. I'm gonna sear on all four sides. Nice even browning. For the scalloped potatoes, what I'm going to do is I like to start with a starchy potato. So in this case, I'm gonna use a russet. I have a little bit of fresh whipping cream, one of my favorite kitchen staples, my buttermilk cheese. This is the buttermilk cheese spread. If you haven't seen that video, I have a kitchen staple video on how to make that. Fresh chopped parsley, roasted garlic, homemade butter, salt, lemon zest, fresh cracked black pepper. So to start, simply going to peel the potatoes. Now as I'm prepping this, what I like to do is store my potatoes in a little bit of cold water with a splash of vinegar in it. So that acidity just kind of helps lock in my color so my potatoes don't brown at all. Talking, baby. So you can see that fat cap is rendered a little bit. Release some nice, delicious fat in the bottom of the pan for me to sear my other sides. Flatten it out. Let her go. So for the scalloped potatoes, I like to use what's called a mandolin. Put my potatoes on. I like to keep my hand flat, kind of my fingers up, but my palm down. And I'm not really applying a whole lot of pressure. I'm just using the natural weight of the potato. And the result is like this pretty thin, maybe about 1/8 of an inch or so slice of potato. Same as the peeled potatoes, as I'm slicing, I like to soak my potatoes in water with a little bit of vinegar in it. Beautiful. So to get the pork loin ready to go in the oven, I'm gonna add a pat of butter, a little spoon of roasted garlic, fresh rosemary, sprig of thyme. I just like to put the herbs in the fat, and that kind of allows all the natural oils to be released. Baste with a little bit of this delicious butter. This just helps ensure I'm gonna lock in some of that moisture by covering the outside in the fat. I'm gonna go ahead and place this in a 350-degree oven with the fan on for about 15 minutes. All right, so for the scalloped potatoes, I like to take a nice big pinch of butter. I'm just gonna spread it on the inside of this pan all over. This just helps ensure that my potatoes don't stick. Potatoes themselves, I'm gonna drain off my water. And I like to toss mine in a little bit of fresh whipping cream. This coats the outside of the potato. Almost make this like built-in sauce. Healthy pinch of salt in there. Just gonna kind of toss these together a little bit. Hands are gonna get a little messy. This is when I just like to set up shop for a little bit, not go anywhere. Bring your baking pan to you. So I'm gonna first start by just layering these, they look almost like scales, these shingles, in rows all the way down. Then your next one, you just kind of slightly overlap the first. By the end of this thing is as pretty as it is delicious. So between each layer, a little pinch of salt, cracked black pepper, a bit of cheese, and my fresh herb. Now the buttermilk cheese spread, I like to do every other layer. This next one, my potatoes, I'm gonna go the opposite way that I went the first time. Crisscross them a bit. It really helps ensure that your potatoes stay together when cut. All right, once I'm completely built like this, put a little pressure all around just to make sure that everything's nice and tight. And for my final layer of seasoning, again, a little pinch of salt, pepper. Go with a little crumble of cheese, shaved hard cheese. Could use a sharp cheddar. Parmesan. So at this point, I'm gonna put this in a 350-degree convection oven, covered in foil, for about an hour. And then I'll go ahead and check it to make sure the potatoes are cooked all the way through. Then I like to remove the foil for about the last 10 minutes or so, just to kind of evenly crisp and brown the top. Pork loin's out of the oven. It's been in a 350-degree convection for the first round for about 15 minutes. I checked it, put it back in for another 8. Great way to check to see if your meat's done cooking. My favorite technique is using the cake tester, so I like to go ahead and put it in the thickest part of the meat. Give it, 30 seconds or so to heat up. So I'm gonna pull it, I'm gonna put it just right under my lip here in this like tender part of your skin. Good rule of thumb, cold is still raw, lukewarm is medium rare, warm is medium, which is where I want my pork loin to be. Hot is medium well, and like really hot, like you just burnt your face, it's well done. All right, so while my pork loin's resting, one final layer of cheese over my taters here, lemon zest, fresh cracked black pepper, and the parsley. Oh yeah. I'll go ahead and remove my string just because it's not delicious. I also love trussing because as the meat roasts, it gives it this really beautiful pattern. Yeah. Beautiful. So to finish, I like to just put a little pinch of salt, fresh cracked black pepper. Trussing it and then roasting it like this is really a foolproof way to ensure that you're going to cook it properly. From my kitchen to yours, I hope you enjoy. Tune in for some more great content coming your way soon. Thanks guys, take care. Thanks for tuning in today. If you're enjoying our series, please feel free to hit subscribe below so you can be the first in the loop to join us each week as we release new content. All right, boys. Finito.